Hello, this is Frank Mealy from HeartlandDiaryUSA.com, bringing you news every conservative can use. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay up to date. This morning on State of the Union with Jake Tapper, Republican Senator Joni Ernst entered the bear cage and came unprepared except for her brilliant smile. It was a pretty sad thing to watch. Ernst had made a completely innocent statement previously during the impeachment hearing about how the Iowa caucuses would react to Joe Biden, and the fake news media has turned that into a major scandal. Well, you can see how Ernst handled it not very well. I wrote about this on my website. Take a look.
Welcome back to State of the Union. I'm Jake Tapper, live from Des Moines, Iowa. Worlds are colliding this week with the president's impeachment trial overlapping the Iowa caucuses. My next guest, Senator Joni Ernst, said last week that she was interested to see how one might influence the other. She pointed to criticism during the trial by the president's defense team of Joe and Hunter Biden.
Iowa caucuses are this next Monday evening, and I'm really interested to see how this discussion today informs and influences the Iowa caucus voters, those Democratic caucus goers. Will they be supporting Vice President Biden at this point?
Biden has seized on her remark, saying that the senator revealed more than she meant to.
She spilled the beans. She just came out and flat said it. You know, the whole impeachment trial for Trump is just a political hit job to try to smear me because he is scared to death to run against me, and he has good reason to be concerned.
Joining me now, Iowa Republican Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa. She served in the Army National Guard and retired as a lieutenant colonel, and she has a new opinion piece in the Des Moines Register taking on the Democratic presidential candidates ahead of the caucuses. Thanks so much for being here, Senator.
Yes,
we appreciate
thank you,
it. So, former VP Biden's chief strategist, Mike Donilon, responded to your comment. He said, "We welcome your panicked admission of who you know would win this battle for the soul of our nation. Please keep it coming because this validation from you is the best we can get." Is Mike Donilon right? Are you focused on Biden because you think he poses the greatest threat to Trump?
No, I think that in that conversation we were having with reporters the other day, it was quite evident the House managers brought up Vice President Biden and his son Hunter and Burisma over 400 times in their opening 400 times in their opening argument.
The Democrats did that.
The Democrats did that. And then the president's White House counsel spent a number of hours laying out the situation with Burisma. So I was just pointing out that Iowa has very smart voters, very educated caucus goers, and if they're paying attention to all the dynamics with the candidates, that might be something that they would take into consideration.
The Republicans have been defending President Trump, saying his pressure campaign with Ukraine had nothing to do with electoral politics, had nothing to do with Biden's campaign. I'm wondering if you think that by linking them, you undermine that argument at all.
I don't think it undermined at all. I think that, again, what we've seen is the Democrats presenting their case. And I think it just really did show that there was something of concern with Burisma. And so I think that, excuse me, the Democrats can follow that. They'll make that decision as they go to the caucuses tonight. But I do think overall there is a corruption issue in Ukraine. We have pointed this out for years. I know
not necessarily about the Bidens, you're saying.
Not
just
necessarily.
In general,
there is a corruption issue there. And of course, the president honed in on that. And took that issue on. But again, you know, we want to see how this influences our caucus goers tomorrow evening as they head out to their polling places.
But that does seem to undermine the argument that this wasn't about electoral politics, given that you're saying you want to see how the mention of Joe and Hunter Biden, and we should point out there is no evidence that anybody did anything illegal regarding the Bidens and Ukraine, and Joe Biden was carrying out U.S. policy. But it does seem to suggest that you think that this could have an effect.
I think this does, whether, that was the intention or not, now everything is tied together. So the information about the Bidens is out there. And so now it is up to the American people to decide, was that a good choice for Hunter Biden to be on that board, especially at a time when his father was trying to ferret out corruption in Ukraine, having a son working for the most corrupt oligarch in Ukraine.
You voted against a motion to hear from new witnesses on Friday. So did Republican Senator Rob Portman of Ohio and Lamar Alexander of Tennessee. But they also have said that what President Trump did, asking Ukraine to investigate the Bidens, was inappropriate and wrong. Both of those Republican senators said it was inappropriate and wrong. Do you think it was inappropriate and wrong?
I think ferreting out corruption is absolutely the right thing to do. Now, if he was tying it to other things, that's the president. It's probably something that I wouldn't have done, but focusing on corruption absolutely
He didn't mention corruption in that call, though, as you know. He just mentioned Joe and Hunter Biden and Burisma, and then he mentioned this conspiracy theory about Ukraine interfering in the election in 2016.
So again, probably not something that I would have done. It's out there.
So it was wrong?
He's done it now. The president has a lot of latitude to do what he wants to do. Again, not what I would have done, but certainly, again, going after corruption, Jake.
So you're saying it's not perfect, I get that. But like if it's not something...
Maybe not the perfect.
If it's not something you would have done, why wouldn't you have done it? Because it was wrong? Because it was inappropriate?
I think, generally speaking, going after corruption would be the right thing to do.
No, but going after the Bidens.
He did it maybe in the wrong manner.
In the wrong manner.
But I think he could have done it through different channels. Now, this is the argument, is that he should have probably gone to the DOJ. He should have worked through those entities, but he chose to go a different route.
Assuming President